It's V Week on ESPN as we continue Jim Valvano's fight against cancer.
Welcome to the Hall of Fame Classic here on ESPN. We're inside beautiful Staples Center for some West Coast hoops after dark. Two top 25 squads having a showdown here. Number 22 Nevada versus the undefeated and 20th ranked Horned Frogs of TCU. Welcome down courtside alongside my broadcast partner, Sean Farnham. I'm Sam Farber. It's a pleasure and a privilege to have you with us here tonight. Well, we've got two top 25 ranked teams. That's exciting to get this kind of matchup. Let's start our focus on Nevada, a squad that ended a decade-long tournament drought a season ago, and yet they've still transformed their team. Lots of new transfers out there for head coach Eric Musselman.
Well, and it's how he wants to sustain success in his program, and he feels it's the best way for them to go is to influx transfers. And when you look at this particular crop of transfers and what they bring to the table, they really can do a lot for the Wolfpack. Let's just start, in particular, Kendall Stevens. He's a shooter. In the last 3 games, he has had 5 3-pointers made in each contest. Then there's Caleb Martin, who's a scorer. His twin brother, Cody Martin. Both of them came from North Carolina State. He's more of a do-it-all type of player out on the floor, but their balance and their cohesiveness this early has been impressive.
TCU, we've got a few more familiar faces on that roster. One of them in particular, Kenrich Williams. Last time we saw him, he was picking up the most outstanding player trophy for the NIT. He's back and even better this season.
Yeah, you look at what he brings to the table. And this TCU team, with their schedule, they should have the record they have. But Kenrich Williams is the player that I think really is the guy that's going to stir everything all season long. He's got great length and size. He's the only player in the Big 12 averaging a double-double so far in the season. When I talked with Jamie Dixon about him, he said he was one of those late bloomers. He said with his length and playing on the club circuit, he is so surprised by the fact he wasn't higher recruited.
The nightcap of the Hall of Fame Classic is coming up next from beautiful Staples Center, Nevada and TCU.
About half the teams that have won the NIT have been in the tournament the following year. Tap ahead by Robinson. Parrish gets to throw it down. A steal by his brother Josh. And a windmill dunk. There's the punctuation mark. The Horned Frogs are the champions of the NIT.
TCU winning their last 5 in the NIT last season. Head coach Jamie Dixon's Horned Frogs 9-0 to begin 2017-2018's campaign.
He's just come home back to TCU from Pitt and with the new facilities. I mean, he has really built this program up, and so has Eric Musselman. His 3rd season now at Nevada, the success that he's been able to have, getting them to the tournament last year, the previous season before, winning the CBI championship. And this year's team, once again, looks like it's poised to make a run to the NCAAs.
We're ready to roll. TCU in white, Nevada in black, and we're underway from Staples Center. Horned Frogs 9-0 on the season, but only recently have really stepped up their competition level. 3 ball on the way, and it's through for Kenrich Williams.
Great way to start, and one of the things you'll notice about TCU is they'll push it in transition, but even Eric Musselman pointed out they are very comfortable at reversing the ball, so that means that Nevada's going to have to be true to its defensive principles and not relax just because the ball's reversed multiple times.
Good power move by Jordan Caroline. We'll see the 5 starters, including the Martin twins. A couple of transfers from NC State.
I'm sorry, every time you mention Caroline's name, I just go back to that game that you called, actually that comeback, that monumental comeback in New Mexico, where he had 45 in the game.
He was basically kicking the football, or kicking the basketball from wherever he wanted to on the floor, and it went in.
I was covering the SEC. It was in conference time, and I'm due the SEC normally, and I'm sitting there in a hotel. I want to say it's like almost at 1 o'clock in the morning, East Coast time, and I could not take my eyes off the screen. It was such a sensational performance last year.
It's a familiar feeling right now for our crew back east. We appreciate everyone staying up late for this top 25 matchup. Only one of the night.
And all games tonight that had ranked opponents have been played inside this building. A couple of good games already, good finishes. Outstanding performance by Trae Young, one of the best freshmen in the country, that happened right before
Foul call on the other side. TCU's team profile, the defending NIT champions, holding their highest ranking in nearly 2 decades. Team last made the NCAA tournament in 1998. Back then they were a member of the WAC, Western Athletic Conference. Fisher up top with 6 on the shot clock. TCU's going to have to fire. Miller for 3. Yes.
Well, Miller has the ability to step out and knock it down. He struggled a little bit as of late. Just 30% on the season from beyond the arc. But it's usually feast or famine for him. If he gets going, he usually starts elevating.
6-point lead for TCU. Caroline from the elbow, missed off the heel. Rebound to TCU. Spain on the left wing down low. Brodzianski turns and faces up and blocks. A foul is called. Block shot goes to Kendall Stevens. Here's a look at Nevada's team profile. 22nd ranked team in the nation.
Yeah, and you look at the fact they started 8-0, coming off of a loss at Texas Tech. An overtime loss just a couple of days ago. And Eric Musselman said, look, we want to play games on the road, and they've won more road games than anybody else in the country. And we want to play difficult competition, and their non-conference schedule has allowed them now some leeway once they get to the Mountain West, where they could take a misstep and still be okay for the NCAA tournament. And that's the goal for both of these programs, as it should be this season. And this is replicating very much so an opening round NCAA tournament game. I mean, you're in a large NBA arena and 2 teams from different conferences that are very good and should be competing at the upper half of their conferences, respectfully. And Nevada should be winning the Mountain West Conference this year.
I'll have a little bit more competition than maybe recent years. Here's a triple up top. One of the twins, Cody Martin, hitting. That's just his second 3 of the season, starting the year 1 for 10 from deep. So that one has to feel good. 10-5, TCU on top, 3 minutes in, and stepping on the baseline there are the Horned Frogs. They'll turn it over to Nevada.
Now you mentioned the Mountain West Conference. Obviously, it's better competition. It's been a 1-bid league the last 2 seasons, but I think you got to keep an eye on UNLV. If you have not seen Brandon McCoy play for Marvin Menzies, I don't know what you're doing, because he's becoming appointment television late at night. Usually during this time on ESPN, somewhere you can find a UNLV game. He has been sensational. 33-10 against DeAndre Ayton, a player that a lot of people think is going to be a top 2 pick in the NBA draft this upcoming year. And he answered them step for step. And that's not to say that Boise State, who's also playing well, and San Diego State too, is a team you've got to keep an eye on. Obviously, the big storyline coming in this season, new coach, Steve Fisher, stepped down last season at the end of the year, and now you got Dutch down there as the head coach. He's been the coach in waiting for a long time. That staff is still very tight. And their players and their system is still very much so intact from what Steve Fisher has been doing there for a long time and having a great deal of success.
Foul went on Jordan Caroline, 13th foul against the Wolfpack, who makes a sub. They'll check in Josh Hall, 6'7" guard from Houston, Texas. Fisher at the line, and he's hit them both. 12-7, TCU on top.
Steadying out pressure in the 1-3-1 here for TCU. Got to play diagonal over the top.
One advantage for Nevada is they like to have interchangeable players. There's not really a true point guard or a true power forward. Everyone can play everything.
You know, there's coaches, and Coach Cal at Kentucky this year has been talking about positionless basketball, you know, just versatility. This is pretty much what his dream scenario would be. A bunch of guys that are all 6'7" out on the floor. They can all handle the ball pretty well and share it. But right now, it's TCU that's been handling the game well. They're sharing the ball, getting a higher quality of shot. They're up by 5 early inside the Staples Center.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Zales. 'Tis the season to save and sparkle more than ever. And Dave & Buster's, the only place to eat, drink, play, and watch sports.
Some fun Flashback Friday photos for this TCU squad. The first one you saw there was now head coach Jamie Dixon on the last TCU squad that won an NCAA tournament game, and you're looking at a couple of the guys from the last time they went to the big dance in 1998. It's been a long drought for TCU, but at 9-0 with their man coming back to his alma mater, Jamie Dixon, they feel very confident this season.
Well, you should be even more confident when you actually watch this team play. I mean, it's just more than just a record, more than just Jamie Dixon coming home. Is they are competing, and they get after it every single possession. And what you've seen so far, I mean, they're perfect from the field. We're 4 minutes into this game plus. There's only one rebound between the two teams. That's good basketball. I mean, look, late at night, we want to entertain you no matter where you're at watching this game. Let's have some points scored. Let's get up and down and enjoy the atmosphere inside the Staples Center.
Does that qualify as the broadcaster's jinx? Right away we get
No, we've talked about this. We were talking about this. You and I have been in this building since noon today.
That's true. That's true. That's noon Pacific, by the way.
Yes.
I want to give our fans out there on the East Coast a little bit of a breather. Missed from point-blank range by Cody Martin, but the rebound tipped out to his brother, Caleb. 5 minutes into the first half, 12-7 TCU. Believe that was supposed to be a pass for Caroline, but gets tipped away.
Oh, you talked about Jamie Dixon. How about these pictures? I pulled up from his high school. There's James Dixon, right? Look at the bottom of the screen. It says, fire in the chem lab. We're going to have to talk to Coach about any fire that he set inside the chem lab. But his outfit, look at the shorts. Look at the follow-through at Notre Dame High School in Sherman Oaks, California. One of the most famous basketball players, if not the most famous basketball player from Notre Dame Sherman Oaks. The gym still looks very much so the same. Jamie's been talking about needing to update and fix the high school facility. He also has been talking about getting back to Henry's Tacos in the Valley. A great taco stand.
Right now he's helping one alma mater. Maybe at some point he'll help the other two.
Oh, he does, trust me. And Jamie Dixon is one of those coaches. He's as real as they come. A couple years ago, I was building a room off the back of my house, and all of a sudden I got a call from Jamie Dixon. I said, "Hey, Coach," he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, I'm building a room off the back of my house." 10 minutes later, Jamie and his dad knocked on my door, and my wife comes in the back and goes, "Sean, Jamie Dixon is at our house." I said, "Why is Coach here?"
He has a hammer.
He goes, "Just wanted to see what I was building."
We've got exchange threes. Quatnoy first for TCU, and then right back Caleb Martin for Nevada. 15-10 the score.
I know it's similar for you. A lot of high major basketball coaches will just show up at your house unannounced.
I just had a door put in. No one showed up to help us out. Nice runner there by Jalen Fisher, sophomore from Arlington Bay, Tennessee. All Big 12 honorable mention a season ago.
I just love the way he plays, and I remember him watching him on the AAU circuit for Team Thad. Team Thad is out of Memphis, Tennessee, and it is, if you play for Team Thad, you play tough and you defend, and that is what Jalen Fisher does.
Robinson from the corner missed everything. Here comes Nevada back the other way, trailing by 7. Into the lane, lefty lay-in goes for Cody Martin.
And Cody Martin, so efficient. You know, you mentioned his three-point numbers. They have not been good, obviously. You've mentioned 1 for 10 on the season. How about having 22 points and shooting 67% from the floor against Texas Tech? That was the good. The bad was the 7 turnovers that he had in the game.
He's just a stat sheet filler right now.
Well, sometimes in the wrong category.
That's true.
I only speak the truth, Sam.
Noy for 3, missed hard off the iron, and the long rebound to Nevada.
You'll notice a lot of isolation basketball being played by Nevada, and that's something that Eric Musselman has brought with his NBA background.
Foul there goes on Hamdi, still Nevada basketball. Saturday we'll have an afternoon doubleheader of hoops. Number 1 Duke taking on Boston College at noon Eastern from Chestnut Hill. Then it's Indiana and Louisville. Both games are on ESPN and streaming live on the app.
Hey, you know, you talk about Duke. It starts with Marvin Bagley, freshman that realistically should be getting paid millions of dollars in the NBA. If you've watched him play, he's so talented, so good. And this is great execution. Special situations, Sam. If you can get 8 points on out of bounds underneath, you're probably going to win the game. I mean, it's one of those things that you don't pay a lot of attention to when you're at home. But if you really watch the game, how does your team execute in those special situations usually is reflective on how they execute throughout the course of the game.
Caleb Martin, the younger of the twins by 1 minute. Sinks the and one. We've got ourselves a one-possession game. Martin's combining for 11 of the 15 from Nevada. They trail TCU by 2. Robinson left wing, goes down low. Hamdi charges in up with the right hand and floats it over the 10.
Really nice job just playing over that left shoulder and getting to where he wanted to be on the floor with a little bit of resistance, but not a lot defensively from the Wolfpack on that possession.
Martin for the answer. Missing it short. And rebound to Noy. TCU up by 4. 12 minutes remaining in the half. Drive and the easy lay-in. Kenrich Williams.
How about that lane that just opened up for him? A little bit of patience, and he saw the seam and attacked it.
He's got 7. The lead is 6. Deep 2. Knocking it down. Darian Williams, senior, transfer from St. John's, who was in the early game here tonight at Staples Center.
He's a player
of his own state.
He's a player that they believe should be shooting the ball better than he has. You go back to his junior college days, he was a very efficient three-point shooter. But Kenrich Williams was a player we told you about at the start of the game for TCU. You have to have an awareness. He can shoot the ball from the outside. You close out too high, he goes right on by. 21-17, Horned Frogs.
Join ESPN and the V Foundation in the fight against cancer. Visit v.org/donate. All donations benefit the V Foundation for cancer research.
Sam, look, it's a disease that has touched all of us. There's not a person in this country that I don't think has had a friend or a family member be struck down by cancer. And I've got a father-in-law right now. He's had cancer for 12 years. And it's because of money that is given to foundations like the V Foundation that advances technology and allows him to continue to improve his quality of life and still fight this disease. And that's the thing I always stress is fine. The V week is my favorite week to be working college basketball because it's bigger than the game. It's about life. But that doesn't mean that we don't stop just because our week is coming to an end here on ESPN and we'll just forget about it until next year. You can continue to give what you can, whether it's $1, whether it's 50 cents, whether it's $100, $1,000. You're helping save lives.
Those donations absolutely needed year-round, and the point's well taken. The biggest impact you can see from the V Foundation and other organizations like it is that the lifespan of people who are diagnosed with cancer is a lot longer now than it was back when that famous speech was made.
And trial meds. Again, my father-in-law, he has a cell that kicked in his body that rejects chemotherapy. He is living on trial meds, and when the trial med runs its course, he's been fortunate enough that there's been a new advancement made and a new trial med for him to go to.
TCU saving that one right to the Wolfpack. Martin, deep 2, left it short and goes off Jordan Caroline, out of bounds and back to the Horned Frogs. 4-point game.
This is the kind of game you and I both were expecting, though. I mean, you look at both teams are very aggressive, and they're aggressive at the defensive end, which sometimes can mean that they get spread out, and that creates seams to drive or for open shots as you overhelp.
It's a game of importance for both teams. For Nevada, this is the last chance this regular season to get a win over a team in a Power 5 conference. And if you're TCU, you haven't really taken on anyone even close to being ranked. I guess your last opponent was the closest one to it, SMU. But outside of that, you haven't faced a ranked team yet this season. We see a nice drive by Alex Robinson. His first bucket of the game makes it 23-17.
And I agree with you. I mean, we were going over TCU's schedule, and the SMU win was a nice win. And Belmont has the potential to be an NCAA tournament team. St. Bonaventure, New Mexico. But this is an opportunity to take on a team that you come into the season going, okay, Nevada's going to go back to the NCAA tournament this year. And for TCU, it's continuing that momentum that they had towards the end of last season. And they're trying to carry over into this year. And Robinson, one of those players that can step up, and little hesitation, drive, and good finish, fading away from the basket. We saw him airball a three-pointer earlier in the game. This is where I think he's much more successful, and that is not settling for the perimeter shot and looking to aggressively attack and apply pressure on the defense.
That was on Lindsey Drew, his first, fourth team foul. Moved down low, but nothing doing for Miller. Defense collapsing on him, and here comes Nevada. Martin to Drew, up and under. And now the three from the corner, off the mark.
Williams should have taken the layup. I mean, he had a baseline drive and an empty hoop with no shot blocker around. He kicks out to a three-point shot that goes awry, and then they end up getting nothing on that possession.
Josh Hall tries to throw up a circus shot. TCU back the other way. Nice block at the back end by Lindsey Drew on Alex Robinson. And it goes off the Horned Frog, so back to Nevada it goes.
As Lindsey Drew, a beautiful adjustment in air to block that shot, avoid the foul, and knock it off of Robinson.
Playing back home, he's from Encino, went to Fairfax High School. Nevada started the night 6 for 9 from the field. They've made one of their last 6 shots. Cody Martin down to the baseline, in and out, back down again for Darian Williams.
And a good pass that time by Martin to Williams.
4-point contest, 8:25 left in the first half. Looking for Brodzianski, and it's not touched by a Nevada team member. So Brodzianski unable to handle the pass from Robinson. It goes back to Nevada again. 4th turnover tonight for TCU.
Well, and Robinson is saying, oh, you should have made the adjustment, you should have got the ball. No, you should have delivered a better pass. That was a very difficult and poor angle to deliver that type of pass.
Side coach Eric Musselman, he too won a tournament in his first season at this job. He won the CDI back in 2016. Last year making the jump to the big dance. Traveling is going to wave off that bucket by Cody Martin.
I didn't think that was a travel. I thought he kept the right pivot foot down. I thought he just continued to pivot and was patient enough to elevate the defense and be able to finish.
So it remains a 4-point game. Three, knocking it down. Desmond Bain, 57% three-point shooter. That's best in the Big 12.
Plus 19% from where he was last year to this year from beyond the arc. Think that's some improvement?
I'll say. Jordan Caroline missing from deep.
I always say this, you can go to the gym and say, hey, I got in the gym, I worked today on my game. You know when it shows up is when you're actually playing games the next season. How did your game improve? Where did you get better? What statistic can you show me that says that the work you did in the offseason paid off? Desmond Bain has done that for TCU, and then they operate and they're able to finish underneath. Jalen Fisher facilitating. Draw the defense to make him step up and open the door for your big.
Saturday we'll have a trifecta of events for you on ESPN at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific. It's MLS Cup between Toronto FC and the Seattle Sounders. Then at 8, the Heisman Trophy presentation, and at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, top-ranked boxing. The WBO junior lightweight title fight between Vasily Lomachenko and Guillermo Rigondeaux.
And there's the finalists. You look at it, Jackson, Mayfield, Love. Who are you giving your vote to?
I would love to see Love get it, because I think Stanford running backs have been.
Who would you give your vote to?
It's going to Baker Mayfield.
Okay, mine would go to Bryce Love.
Oh.
He would have the highest yard per carry of any running back to win the Heisman Trophy. He played through an injury which limited his numbers a little bit. He still was the second leading rusher in all of college football. And oh, by the way, he's studying to be a pediatrician.
I like it all the way around.
At Stanford.
Well, maybe for once a Stanford running back will get the benefit of the doubt. Hasn't happened.
No, I mean, look. I'm with you. I think Baker Mayfield's going to take it home. But you mentioned that day that we have tomorrow on ESPN, and you've got unbelievable lineup. And you think about Joe Tessitore is going to be doing at the Heisman Trophy ceremony. And then he's immediately going over to call the WBO junior lightweight title fight between Lomachenko and Rigondeaux.
That's going to be a great fight, too.
I mean, I love Lomachenko. Top-ranked boxing. You know, boxing on ESPN is good. I mean, it's really good. You talk about a sport that hasn't maybe gotten enough love. Boxing might be making a comeback here.
We're doing our part here. J.D. Miller doing his as well. Potential 4-point play.
I just love the way that TCU shares the ball and spaces the floor. And they just do an outstanding job of finding guys in areas where they can be successful and shooting it. Now over 60% shooting from the floor so far tonight. 61% for TCU.
15-4 run for the Horned Frogs. They've stretched their lead to 13. Of course, as we know with Nevada, no lead is safe. We've got plenty of time in this one. 6:20 remaining in the first half. TCU in a little zone defense. I got away with the travel. Doesn't matter. Turnover anyways. Jalen Fisher running the floor. And a travel on Desmond Bain.
And that's just a careless travel there.
5th turnover for TCU.
I didn't like the floor spacing that possession in transition for TCU. Everybody was on that left-hand side of the floor, standing about 3 feet away from each other.
TCU sticking with that zone defense. Caleb and Cody Martin playing catch. Cody down low. Caroline banks it home, plus the foul.
Good strong finishing, good location being out on the floor, sneaking behind the back line of the defense. Caroline able to find a window to get a pass to thread through and able to finish.
Caroline, one of 2 players who has a chance tonight to reach the 1,000-point plateau on his career. For Caroline, the combined between his previous stop, Southern Illinois, because he's playing at Nevada, so he had to transfer from somewhere, right?
Everybody else has on the roster. And look, it is a challenge for Eric Musselman to have this many transfers. You know, when you take a transfer, why is a player transferring in most cases? Because they're unhappy. They don't like where they're at. Maybe sometimes it's just they don't get along with the coach, but other times it can be, I want more playing time, I want more shots. And with that, you have to deal with sometimes some selfish basketball players. What he's been able to do is utilize their transfer year to allow them to see how the system will work and how you have to play if you're going to play underneath him at Nevada. And because of that, there's a smooth transition from that redshirt year to the on-the-court play.
Fisher nearly gets the steal out of bounds on the baseline. It'll stay with Nevada. Look at the impact transfers in this program so far. And you see the big-name programs these kids are coming from. The Twins from NC State, Purdue, Iowa State, St. John's. These are kids who are coming to the Mountain West and maybe a little bit better level of recruits than they're used to seeing in the Mountain West.
Well, I think the other aspect of it is you're trying to find an identity. So what is the identity of this Nevada program? I mean, you know, some people say we're guard you or, you know, one and dones or whatever. No, they're transfer you. That's what they are. They're transfer you. They're trying to corner the market in transfers and saying you want a second chance, you want to try to find a new home and maximize your skill set. Come try it out here in Nevada and see how it works for you. And it's worked well for Eric Musselman, and it's worked well for the guys that he's had transfer in. They continue to get better every single season.
Cody Martin knocks down the jumper. He's averaging 15 points per game. The 2 Martins together averaging 35 a contest. J.D. Miller off the mark this time, and the rebound to Martin. Steal right back from Kenrich Williams. Horned Frogs want to run. Robinson right into the lane. Kick out for Fisher. Fisher the blow by. Miller deep 2.
It didn't catch it clean. And anytime you don't catch the ball clean, you should not shoot it. If it takes you that long to settle in and make sure the ball's comfortable in your shooting pocket, it's taking too long. You thought too long about the shot.
Long rebound went to Cody Martin. Rifles the pass into Caroline. He pops it right back out. Caleb Martin missed the 3. Rebound TCU.
Low percentage 3-point shot that time. You can get a contested 3 from beyond NBA range at any time in the shot clock.
10-point lead for the Horned Frogs, trying to get to 10-0 to start this season. get their first win over a ranked opponent. Miller up and under. Gets the friendly roll. And it's now a 12-point advantage. Foul on the drive there. Nevada will have the ball on the baseline. Jalen Fisher picking up the personal, but the Horned Frogs lead at 36-24. Well, all 8 Horned Frogs who have seen the floor so far tonight for head coach Jamie Dixon have registered points, but standing out from the crowd for this 12-point advantage is Kenrich Williams. We highlighted him early, checking all the boxes on his box score.
Well, just so efficient. 4 of 5 shooting from the floor. 1 for 1 from beyond the arc. He's already got 3 rebounds to go with his 9 points. We mentioned off the top, the only player inside the Big 12 averaging a double-double per game. Well on his way to be able to get one again tonight.
See his stat line so far. Leading the team in points and rebounds. TCU shooting 56% from the floor. More importantly, 45% from deep, and holding Nevada to just 2 for 7 from beyond the arc.
And again, it's the balance to me that stands out more than anything. You mentioned it, every player that's checked in the game has scored. That's what TCU has to do to be successful.
Kendall Stevens listing it long. We are playing in the larger arena tonight, and for both these teams, you look at the level of competition and where they play. Haven't really seen them in NBA arenas at this point. Sometimes that changes the angle for you.
Not that badly.
Bain on the drive. Lefty lay-in is good.
Great drive that time.
Desmond Bain has 5. Caroline let the defense fly by, and he is fouled. Jordan Caroline will be at the line for 2.
And it's been Caroline that is every single time you think of Nevada going, okay, they need a bucket desperately on a trip. Caroline has stepped up 2 or 3 times already and put himself in position to get some points.
74% free throw shooter, last year's 2nd team all-conference. First one rattles in for him. Subs checking in. Brodzianski for TCU, and we'll see Drew back in the game for Nevada. Talking about the Heisman Trophy, Caroline from a football family. His grandfather, J.C. Caroline, in the College Football Hall of Fame, and also played for the Chicago Bears. Offensive board for the Wolfpack, trailing by 13.
Caroline's one of those guys too. You put some shoulder pads on him, you could easily see him transition out onto the floor. And speaking about transitioning, has good ball reversal action by Nevada. And as the defense elevated up, a small window opened up for the little pocket pass, and Martin able to finish at the rim.
Cody Martin now with 9. He is the leader for Nevada. Trailing by 11, 2.5 minutes remaining in the opening half. Brodzianski taking a nice pass from Kenrich Williams. He's fouled, and he'll head to the line.
Yeah, you get ball reversal action though at the other end of the floor. You go back and show it to you again. Then you step up on the screen. Good solid screen. The defense doesn't communicate well on it. There's no help side rotation on the back line, and Martin's in the rim with the finish.
Vladimir Brodzianski, 6'11" forward from Slovakia.
And even though we showed you just the screen action, why was the ball reversal important? Well, when you swing the ball away from where the true action is taking place, the defense tends to take at least 1 or 2 steps over in that direction. You come quickly with an on-ball screen. That's a longer run for the help side position. That's why Martin got to the rim.
Big 3 here for Nevada. And it's down to a single-digit deficit, 39-30 TCU. Coming up on 2 minutes remaining in the half. Robinson to the corner. Gets it right back. 10 on the shot clock. Robinson, lefty lay-in, rattles home. Back the other way. Nice lay in there for Nevada. Getting underneath. Hollis Cook, the senior, another transfer for Oregon State. Nevada doing a good job of answering blows. They haven't really delivered them in succession yet against TCU. Robinson finds Brodzianski, shot blocked, but he was tripped on his way down low by Drew, and he'll go back to the charity stripe.
And I go back to one of the things you talked about, this lead getting back underneath 10. The first thing Eric Musselman told us, I said, what'd you learn about your team? He said, we're tough. We play with toughness, we compete at a very high level, and we're able to sustain it. Even when things haven't gone our way, we've shown resiliency and fight. And that's what we've seen so far here in the first half. Now, they're doing it at the offensive end. They need to start doing it at this end of the floor. TCU is shooting 60% from the field. You got to sustain some stops if you want to decrease this lead. You can't allow them to end runs quickly because you're giving them clean looks.
Do catch a break with Brodzianski going 0 for 2 at the line, and now a foul on this end of the floor. Bain picking up the personal. Second personal, 7th team foul. So to the free throw line for 1-1 is Caleb Martin. Fisher back in the game for the Horned Frogs. He'll replace Bain. Here's Caleb Martin, the younger brother by a minute, but the better scorer with 20 a game. That's tops in the Mountain West Conference.
And one of the reasons why he's a better scorer is because he gets to the free throw line with such great frequency. Already a couple of games this year where he's attempted more than 10 free throws. He's coming off a career high 28 points at Texas Tech.
Broadcaster's jinx works again. We're batting 1,000 on that one. Kenrich Williams the rebound. Approaching 1 minute left here in the first half. Lead is 9 for TCU. Robinson away from the screen. Off the contact, banks it home.
That is a tough shot for Robinson.
Coming off a contest that he missed. He was out with a left ankle injury for the win over SMU. Caroline, drive and kick. This is Cody Martin. Cody Martin in traffic, finishes anyways. Drops the deficit back down to 9. And TCU will hold for the final possession. Heating up here, they've made 4 of their last 4 attempts. Same is true for Nevada. Down low, Brodzianski, easy lay-in. And a timeout called with 2.9 on the clock. So one more possession coming up for Nevada. They're trailing by 11.
Again, you get the defense in an on-ball screen situation. You isolate and try to get a mismatch. Defense miscommunicates. Everybody's raising their hands up in the air. The one thing you never want to see as a coach is have an on-ball screen set against you and have multiple players throw their hands up in the air and look at each other. Because what that means is that they're not talking. Talking is what builds trust in relationships and also teams on the court.
Caleb Martin at the buzzer grazes the iron, and it ends up falling short. It'll be an 11-point lead for TCU. Halftime score 45-34. After the break, we'll be in studio. Zubin Mehenti and LaFonso Ellis have the latest for you for the college basketball halftime report.
Guys staying up late with us. I love it.
Welcome to the Hall of Fame Classic on ESPN. The number 20 TCU Horned Frogs holding on to the 11-point lead over number 22 Nevada, 45-34. Sam Farber, Sean Farnham here with you courtside at Staples Center. What we were expecting tonight, Sean, 2 top 25 ranked teams. They're playing pretty good basketball, just a few extra possessions for TCU. The difference right now.
Well, yeah, and this is what I love. I love basketball where they're scoring the basketball. Both teams shooting better than 50% from the field in the first half. A combined 31 made shots. That's great. Now it comes down to the second half is who's going to be able to maintain their efficiency at the offensive end, because now both coaches have gone in and they start trying to figure out adjustments to take their opponent out of their rhythm. And so I would anticipate that we see a more sluggish start a little bit here in the second half as far as efficiency goes.
One other thing we've seen a lot of players score the basketball. Good spread of the scoring as we take a look at tonight's game track, brought to you by Zales. TCU, #1 shooting team in the Big 12, 52% from the field. Well, they're even better than that tonight.
The points in the paint is the biggest differential. And the one thing I would tell you this too, TCU is a team that really likes to share the basketball. They average about 20 assists per game. They have 3 assists on 17 made field goals. So you say, okay, well, why is that? Why are, Sean, you've said in the first half they're passing the ball well. Why don't they have more assists? A lot of that has to do with the defense in which Nevada plays. They pressure, they extend out so much that once you get them moving, you pass the ball, then it's a couple of dribbles to get in and score a layup or get those easy buckets underneath, where you're having to go a little bit more one-on-one than you normally would want.
Nevada in black starts with the basketball, trailing by 11. Team started the year 8-0, losing their most recent game to another Big 12 school, Texas Tech, in overtime. Martin, head fake. Lost it off his foot, out of bounds. A turnover on the first possession for Nevada.
Just a little too quick that time.
8th turnover of the contest. Cody Martin, guilty party.
The idea was great. Utilize a shot fake, elevate up the defense, make him raise his hands up, get your shoulders below his. It gives you an advantage. But the dribble just not there.
Kenrich Williams to Fisher. To continue to play catch. Swing it around. 7 on the shot clock for Robinson. Robinson. Interesting attempt with the left hand. On the run out, here's Martin to the 10. Caleb with the helper to Cody.
Yeah, good unselfishness. And again, run your lane, create some spacing, be available for your teammate. Play with poise. All those things happened on that possession in the fast break for Nevada.
Back to a single-digit deficit, 45-36, TCU leading just over a minute in to the second half. Foul called on Lindsey Drew. That's his 3rd personal.
Now out in transition, throw the ball ahead, space the floor, defensive player steps 2, run the middle lane, and be able to finish. It's not just bigs that can run the middle lane.
Bucket gave Cody a game-high 13. Kenrich Williams too strong on the inbounds play, and now Nevada a chance to get a little closer, trailing by 9. Caroline backing down. Deep 3, Stevens. No, sir. Had a few of those tonight. Saturday, we'll have an afternoon doubleheader of hoops. #1 Duke takes on Boston College at noon Eastern from Chestnut Hill. Then it's Indiana and Louisville. Both games are on ESPN and streaming live on the app. Back to action here at Staples Center. 45-36. #20 TCU leading #22 Nevada. Fisher for 3. Yes. Fisher's first triple of the night. He's got 7. Lead is a dozen. Caleb Martin gives it down low, and Caroline is fouled. TCU moving the ball well.
Well, it starts with penetration. As you drive in, the defense has to react. As they all turn their attention to the ball, they lose sight of where the perimeter players are, and a beautiful kick out. And Fisher's feet were set and ready to knock it down.
Back to the line, Jordan Caroline.
I'll tell you this, though, on that last possession here for the Wolfpack, they did a great job of extending out and bringing Brodzanowski away from the hoop. And he has not done well in those situations, those on-ball screens, throughout the course of this year. Against Belmont, he got beat a couple of times. He's got to get better at that position. communicating, talking. He overextends, and as he elevates up, he loses contact with the screener, allowing them to slip to the basket. Against Belmont, it happened 3 times.
Goes 1 for 2 at the line. Rodzianski misses the baseline jumper, and an over-the-back foul on TCU. I believe that's Kenrich Williams. It is. That's his first personal. Second team foul of the half. Cody Martin. Caroline, 3 on the way. Left it short, rebound to Miller. Fisher, nice pass. Miller, 4-3. Good shooting from the first half has not followed us out of the locker room.
But you knew that was going to be the case. I mean, both these coaches are so good, and when you go back to the locker room, you finally have a chance to talk to your team with length about how you've got to be successful or what adjustments you need to make defensively. And so what you're seeing is you're having to make 1 extra, 2 extra passes to try to get the quality look.
Steal here for Nevada. Cook, shovel pass. Caleb Martin is fouled.
Good energy level again at the defensive end of the floor. That's where it starts for Nevada. They get on the floor, they secure the ball, and then they look to aggressively attack.
48-39 the score. Caleb Martin back to the line. He's coming off a career best performance at Texas Tech with 28. It's his brother that's had the bigger scoring night so far in this one with 15. First one rims out, subs in for TCU. Quat Noy, redshirt freshman from Newcastle, Australia, placing J.D. Miller. Martin goes 1 for 2. 8-point ball game. Some full court pressure for Nevada. For those of you watching on ESPNU, we welcome you here to Staples Center. You just saw Stanford advancing in volleyball, and here in hoops, late night action on the West Coast. 2 top 25 squads. TCU reopening their advantage back to 10 points. Sam Farber, Sean Farnham here with you courtside in LA. And Sean, this is a matchup of 2 programs that last season were right there on the bubble. Mountain West team, Nevada, earned their way in, winning their conference tournament. TCU ends up winning the NIT. Both have high expectations for this year.
Well, yeah, they have the expectations that this is going to be a season where, for TCU, they get back into the NCAA tournament, and for Eric Musselman's squad, ranked for the first time since 2007, a team that Mark Fox, now the current coach at Georgia, was coaching, had a tremendous amount of talent. They were in the top 10 for a while during the course of that season. But these programs are 2 of the programs on the rise in college basketball, and it starts with the leadership that's on the sideline and their ability to go out and recruit top-notch talent that fit to the identity of their programs, and do so in a very short period of time.
TCU in particular has seen a significant upgrade in the kind of kids they are seeing in that basketball program. They were at the bottom of the Big 12 for a long time. They are near the top now in the preseason rankings.
Well, they're not going to be near the bottom for a long, long time still to come. The shot clock violation. Really good defense at possession by Nevada.
Drew flying out to block the shot by Bain. 15:35 remaining. I think that 15:36 remaining here in regulation. TCU with a 10-point lead. Well, the Horned Frogs' top player on the season is Kenrich Williams. Not one of the new recruits necessarily, but he's put up big numbers all season long.
Well, the only player inside the Big 12 that is averaging a double-double on the season. Had a great first half, 9 points, 4 rebounds, and he did it in a variety of ways. And then you look at Cody Martin coming off a great game against Texas Tech, where he had 22 points. Shot 67% from the field. A very good start for him in this contest. 11 points in the first half, 4 assists, and only 1 turnover. The 1 turnover key because he had 7 in that game that I before mentioned.
Sam Farber, Sean Farnham here. This is an important game for both of these squads, Sean. If you look at the Mountain West squad, Nevada, it's been a one big conference the last couple of years. If they want to get in as an at-large, if they need to, a win over a Power 5 school would be important. For TCU, well, this is a program that just quite frankly doesn't have the strength of schedule right now, that if they do end up on the bubble, this win would be important.
Opportunities are there, though, because of conference play. That's the difference here, because you look at Nevada, they're not going to have a lot of top 25 teams to face during the course of their conference play. Meanwhile, you're looking at 4 teams right now currently inside the Big 12 that are ranked in the top 25. So opportunities will exist for TCU. I think both teams right now are in good position. TCU needs this one a little bit more than Nevada does. Nevada's won on the road, and I think road victories are going to be good, and I think they're going to win their conference in the regular season and be all right. But TCU, they've executed very well so far in this game. They've shared the ball, they've reversed the ball, they've forced Nevada to defend, which is why they were able to get this lead. But moving forward in the Big 12, you know, obviously Kansas is right there. I mean, it starts with Kansas each and every year. I did a Gonzaga game, and you talk about the WCC, and I know St. Mary's is really good, but until somebody goes and does it, it's the Zags league.
Right.
And
in the Big 12,
I think in the Big 12,
the
it's the Jayhawks. Until somebody beats them, it's Kansas every year. You don't even have to ask me. I'll just write it in. I don't even need to see. They could not even have a team, and I would still put them in. Now, Jamie Dixon, though, is recruiting at that higher level, as you mentioned. And the big part of it is his staff. He's got a great staff underneath him, but his leadership and what he's done and the transformation of him as a coach. We were talking about it afterwards. You say back in 2004, you were the Big East Coach of the Year. Well, that was all defense, grinded out games. Your team's playing really differently now. And he goes, well, that's because the rules changes. He goes, the defense I ran in 2004, probably most of my team would have been fouled out. And because of that, he's adaptive. And he has continued to try to find players that can expand the game, shoot the ball extremely well from the outside. And you're looking at one of the coaches that has had such great deal of success, 20-plus wins in 13 of his 14 seasons. He was the National Coach of the Year in 2009. 2 Big East titles, one in 2004, one in 2011, and also won a gold medal as the head coach of the 2009 FIBA Under-19 World Championships. So he's done it internationally, and he's done it at the college level, and he understands what it takes to find success.
Now has come home with certain respect to his alma mater, who's class of 1987, and back in 2007, the TCU Hall of Fame inductee. So trying to take what he was able to do at Pitt and make that happen here with the Horned Frogs, a program that hasn't had that success in the Big 12.
He's home at TCU, and he's home in Los Angeles because that's where he came from before he went to TCU. So all around, he's very comfortable right now. But no, they're gonna be in the thick of it this year inside the Big 12, and we saw one Big 12 team already perform in this building earlier tonight, and Trae Young put on a show once again for everybody in attendance. Speaking of Trays, Kwat Noy, three-point specialist, nails another triple. Australian native. Makes it 53-41. Noy's second 3 of the game. Drive underneath. Caroline. Good D by Brodzianski. 7 on the shot clock. Cook. Great defense on ball by Robinson. Caroline had it fall right to him. Missed the lay-in and the rebound at TCU. That's a great possession if you want to show somebody how to play on-ball defense without fouling. His hands were wide. He was strong. Then he helped off, got the ball, and dribbles it down the floor and finds a layup. That's a highlight reel right there for Mr. Robinson. Robinson used that off arm to keep the space. Now Martin on the backdoor cut is fouled, and he'll head to the line. Caleb Martin will shoot 2. And the finish out in transition, a little hesitation, a little screen at the elbow, a step slow in their rotation, shields well and protects without pushing off and getting that foul. But to me, it started all at the defensive end of the floor. I'm a big defensive guy. I like to see guys get in the stance, keep their hands above their hips, shrink the floor, make it congested, make it difficult for the offense to find success. That was on Bain. He checks out for Jalen Fisher. One more free throw coming for Caleb Martin, preseason Mountain West Conference newcomer of the year, transfer from NC State, and he hits them both.
12-point advantage for TCU. 14 minutes and about 10 seconds now remaining in regulation. Fisher down low. Brodzianski has it blocked. Well, the putback is there. Kenrich Williams.
Williams'
back
motor.
up to 14.
His motor just a little bit hotter than everybody else's on the floor right there.
Drew drive and kick. Caleb Martin. Yes. Caleb Martin starting to heat up a little here in the second half.
Little pass fake and the ability to elevate up and finish.
He's got 12. His twin brother Cody has 16. Now a turnover back to the Wolfpack. Brodzianski, 8th turnover in total for the team. Caleb Martin. Not sure who he's intending that pass for. Now a trip at midcourt. Kenrich Williams is fouled. Just the second team foul, however, on Nevada.
Really good defense, though, so far in this last couple possessions for Alex Robinson. I mean, he's outsized by Martin, and yet being aggressive, bodying him up with his hands out wide, taking the contact, being in the right position, deflecting the ball, being active. Those are winning basketball plays that don't show up in a box score. Yes, either one of these coaches, those are the type of plays they want to see from their players because they understand that's championship level basketball.
Robinson working on Drew. Swinging around to Fisher. Fisher for three. Yes. Jalen Fisher, the sophomore.
I love his game. I mean, you just look at him and how he's progressed from even a season ago, which was an outstanding freshman campaign where he led all freshmen in the Big 12 in assists and 3-pointers made.
Caleb Martin around the screen, rattles out. Jordan Caroline doing the dirty work down low.
Well, Nevada's proven it can score, but it has yet to prove that it can sustain stops and allow this lead to get to where they have a realistic chance of trying to win this game.
Kenrich Williams misses the bunny in the out-of-bounds play off Nevada, so it's going to stay with TCU. Jalen Fisher, the sophomore, well, you really like.
I really like him. Now, he has not been shooting the three well prior tonight, but already a couple threes here in the second half. Season high, he had 20 versus St. Bonaventure, but in Caroline at the other end of the floor, just out muscling, just wants the ball more. You know, so often we get caught up in size, and Nevada doesn't have a great deal of size underneath, and certainly outmanned as far as height goes. But as far as want to goes, that's an immeasurable. You can't put a wingspan or vert on that. You just, how bad do you want to go get the ball, and how much do you want to make a play to help your team?
Eric Musselman arguing his case for Nevada. I think he's got one. Had a TCU player pushing through the Nevada player in an attempt to get the basketball. I think he's arguing either it's a foul or it's off the Horned Frogs. They're going to review this one. Eric Musselman, well-traveled head coach. He's been a head coach basically since 22. He's been all over the place, the CBA, USBL, and as a professional in the G League and in the NBA. Here's that last play.
He's talking about who the ball went off of.
I think they are reviewing whether it hit the rim. It did on the ricochet.
On the ricochet, and now the only other thing they could potentially be looking at, shot clock there is 17 seconds, so that's not an issue. It reset, but the ball hit the rim, so
I'm going to get the explanation. So the ball, we're getting the explanation. Ball hit the rim, but it was on a deflection, not on a shot, so they're putting the shot clock at 16.
never heard of that one, to be honest with you. Usually the ball hits the rim regardless.
That's how you reset it.
It was deflected because of a shot.
We'll have more time to talk about it. TCU.
Do we really have to?
Well,
I don't want to. It's too late to talk about that.
SB Week on ESPN as we continue Jim Valvano's fight against cancer.
TCU representing the Big 12 well right now. They're up by 12 points. In our Big 12 notebook, we saw one of these other teams, Oklahoma, earlier tonight here at Staples Center. Trae Young looking like he might win another Player or Newcomer of the Week award.
Yeah, you look at Kansas. They got beat by Washington in a stunner in Kansas City. But, hey, talk about Trae Young. He has won either Player of the Week or Newcomer of the Week every single week so far for the Big 12, and it's deservingly so. Leads the nation in scoring, came into tonight third in the country in assists, and then the balance of power. 4 teams currently ranked inside the top 25.
Very slight signs that he is a freshman. He missed a couple of free throws down the stretch here in LA against USC that could have sealed the game. Still, 29 points, 9 assists for him.
Wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if Oklahoma joins those 4 teams in the top 25 in the near future.
No argument here. Robinson misses the runner at the end of the shot clock.
Are you sure that was a shot and it wasn't deflected, or I'm just wondering?
I thought you said we weren't talking about it.
I'm just, look, you can say it's not a shot because it was deflected. That's fine. But what happens if it gets deflected and goes through the hoop? Does it count?
It does.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. We don't want to say because it wasn't a shot, it was just deflected.
We're going to pull out our rule book and dig a little deeper during this break.
Give me a Sharpie. I want to color something during this break.
12-point lead for TCU.
Look, squirrel. Yeah, Real McCoy at UNLV. I mentioned this last year. I was at Lon Kruger's golf tournament that takes place in Las Vegas, and I've been part of that the last 3 years. And I was doing a radio interview there. I said, you should have billboards up saying the Real McCoy is coming, because he is just absolutely phenomenal. And the show that he put on, in particular in the second half of that game against DeAndre Ayton the other night, as good as a performance as you'll see. 33 points and 10 rebounds against a guy that a lot of people think could be the #1 pick potentially in the NBA draft, and at least challenging Marvin Bagley for it.
Good bucket there from Cody Martin. He's got 18, and now in his last 2 games, 40 points for Cody Martin. Past Fisher, leaving it off, and an easy lay-in for Ahmed Hamdi.
Well, and you talked about this in the first half. And in case you were watching Stanford advance in women's volleyball and you missed it, about Mountain West being a one-bid conference over the last couple of years. It's not going to be a one-bid conference this year. It's going to be a multi-bid league, and I see at least 2 teams getting in. I would go with UNLV and Nevada as both the 2 teams that could get there, and then Boise State not that far behind.
Cody Martin at the line. 22 the other day against Texas Tech. 18, and stuck on 18 for the moment here tonight for Nevada. Saturday we'll have an afternoon doubleheader of hoops. #1 Duke takes on Boston College at noon Eastern from Chestnut Hill. Then it's Indiana and Louisville. Both games are on ESPN and streaming live on the app.
I've got a good one tomorrow as well. I've got Alabama at Arizona.
You were a busy man.
I cannot wait to get down to that game. Colin Sexton, one of the elite level guards in the country for Avery Johnson's team. And then there's Arizona that has not lost inside the United States this year. If we could just erase the Bahamas, people would be feeling really good about the Wildcats. They used to be in the top 10.
Now they certainly wish they could.
Now they're not there anymore. But a weird week. You look at Kansas, they go ahead and they lose. Florida, they've already lost 2 games. They play Cincinnati tomorrow. They could easily lose 3 games this week, and 4 in a row dating back to the PK 80, in which they lost the championship game to Duke. Texas A&M took a loss to Arizona, their first loss of the season this week. So there's going to be a lot of changes. It's going to be very fluid, I think, for the next couple of weeks inside the top 10, at least, in college basketball.
Jalen Fisher, one more coming up at the charity stripe. He's quite good from there. Top 10 in the Big 12. 85% free throw shooter. He makes it 64-51. Horned Frogs. Caroline drives it inside. Nice hesitation move, but he could not finish. Rebound to Hamdi. TCU hoping this is the season they end that tournament drought. Last time they went, 1998. That was a couple of conferences ago.
It'll change this year. I mean, there is no doubt in my mind that TCU is going to be a tournament team at the end of the season. I'd be shocked. I'd be really stunned if they weren't.
Picked to finish third in the preseason coaches poll. Nevada picked to win the Mountain West. Good rebound by Kenrich Williams, averaging that double-double. He had some work to do at halftime in the rebounding category. He's making it up now. That's his 7th board. Here's a triple.
Jalen Fisher making sure that he's getting his work in from beyond the arc. 3 for 3, all of them coming here in the second half.
Season high for made threes, and nearly in hand one. It crawls out of the tin for Darian Williams. Foul is on Desmond Bain. That's his 4th personal. Sends Williams to the line, a well-traveled senior. He's from Southern California, went to St. John Bosco High School, then Iowa Western, then City College of San Francisco, then St. John's, and now here with the Nevada Wolfpack.
There's not a team that's more well-traveled than the Nevada Wolfpack. And they have continued to reload and restock with transfers. They've got 4 very talented transfers that are sitting out this year. That will be redshirting and then available for next year. They lost a lot from a year ago. You think about Oliver Marshall and Fenner, then how talented they were. Almost. And then this year, you've got 61% of your points coming from transfers. I mean, you're relying on a quick turnaround and a quick build back up.
Robinson slashes, misses the lay-in, rebound to Drew. Set up Caroline. Give and go to Martin. Reverse lay-in, no. Caroline tips it home.
That's a lot of ball-watching defense right there for TCU. Pass gets thrown in. You lose track of your man because you don't get lower than him. And instead you allow the back cut. And then you've got 2 guys going to the shooter. And that leaves the offensive rebound and the tip back for Nevada.
Caroline, 3rd member of the Wolfpack in double figures. Got a foul on the other end on Nevada.
Every time the ball is passed, you've got to jump and you've got to move as a defensive player. If you're standing in the same spot that you were standing in when the pass was made, you're already out of position.
Kenrich Williams, see the season free throw percentage, very good. He's just a stat machine. He's top 5 right now in the Big 12 in rebounds, steals, minutes, top 10 assists, 3-point percentage. As you mentioned, the only guy averaging a double-double. Lead is up to 15. Caroline baseline jumper. Yes. He's got 13. Fisher blow by move, and he was held by Drew. They're calling it on the floor. Probably could have called it anywhere from half court on. They chose just before he rose up.
Well, and you know, it's frustrating, I'm sure, for Eric Musselman is the fact that, you know, you get an easy basket, you score, and then you just go down and 0 passes in the offense, and you're just fouling them all the way down the floor. Can't do it.
8:39 left in regulation. Lead is 13. Timeout granted to Fisher just before the 5 count would have expired. Eric Musselman disagrees.
Eric Musselman counts to 5 faster than the officials do.
Wolfpack trailing by 13. Saturday we'll have a trifecta of events for you on ESPN. 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific. It's the MLS Cup between Toronto FC and the Seattle Sounders. Then at 8, Heisman Trophy presentation. And at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, top-ranked boxing. I know you're excited, Sean. The WBO Junior Lightweight title fight between Vasily Lomachenko and Guillermo Rigondeaux. But this is the big one in the middle. The Heisman Trophy finalists, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, and Bryce Love.
You said in the middle, and you're pointing to Baker Mayfield, who clearly you are pulling for to win the Heisman Trophy. I feel bad for winners. But I feel bad for Lamar Jackson, too, though. I mean, his numbers this year were ridiculous. 17 rushing touchdowns. You saw the total of touchdowns, over 40 total touchdowns coming from him, and he was asked to do even a lot more this year than he was last season because of the injuries that they had at the defensive end of the field.
No argument. I still think Baker Mayfield's winning it.
That's fine. The first half, I was making my case for Bryce Love. I'm just kind of all over the place on it.
Martin hits the triple. And it's down to a 10-point game once again. 8 minutes left in regulation. Nevada trying to make a run back into this one.
A little bit better bounce right now by Nevada at this defensive end of this possession. See if they can maintain it for 11 seconds more. Gotta have your hand up.
And a bump is called as Brodzianski took the entry pass. That'll take us to a timeout on the floor. 10-point ball game. TCU leading, looking for a top 25 victory.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Zales. 'Tis the season to save and sparkle more than ever. And Dave & Buster's, the only place to eat, drink, play, and watch sports.
10-point game here in LA. Let's see tonight's Hall of Fame shining moment brought to you by Zales.
You want to be shining here on the side of the Staples Center, the house that Taylor Swift evidently built because you got a banner up there for most sold-out concerts. Just pointing that out for no particular reason. But Jalen Fisher, his shot has been good for good reason because he practiced and he got better at it. 15 points, 3 of 3 from beyond the arc, all of them coming here in the second half. Outstanding shining performance so far here in the second half.
Averaging 11 a game on the season. He's got 11 in the second half alone and a perfect 3 for 3 from beyond the arc. On the other side, Cody Martin, 19 points tonight, the elder of the two twins by 1 minute. Tends to be more the distributor than the scorer, but tonight he has held both roles, 19 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists.
A very good game for him, but again, defensively they may get stops. The TCU has been able to maintain control and a double-digit lead for a majority of this second half.
Almost a steal there for Cody. Jalen Fisher bails out Kenrich Williams.
They had a great possession defensively, and then in the final seconds of the shot clock, they pick up a silly foul, reaching around the back.
Brodzianski, left hand, no. Rebound to Caleb Martin. Caleb to Cody, backing his way down against Fisher. And before the shot, foul on the floor. They go on Fisher. It's his third personal. And it is a bonus situation, so 1-1 coming up at the line for Cody Martin.
One of the things that's impressed me, and we talk about coaching staffs, very good coaching staff at Nevada, and there's one guy in particular, Gus Arginal, who was the former head coach at Cal State East Bay, and more importantly was a Red Line basketball camper growing up. You know who his coach was?
Who's that?
Me.
Hey,
I coached him. You know you're old when there's guys that you coached when you were in high school that are sitting on a bench as a Division I assistant coach, but really was an outstanding player. It is a young, outstanding coach that is really learning a great deal from Eric Musselman. He did a great job orchestrating the shoot-around today in the scout for TCU.
And squad on a 7-0 run right now. TCU's had an answer just about every time Nevada's gotten to this point. Fisher blocked at the rim. Pack on the run out. Cody Martin down to Caleb. In traffic. Missed it short. Got the rebound. Goes back up and is fouled.
I wonder, because you did the game last year where they were down by like 16 and in a very short period of time came back and tied the game, then went to overtime in that game, right?
If you see Charlie Tooley on the floor, that's a good sideboard, because he's the walk-on freshman last year who they just threw him in. Hey, it's garbage time. We're down double digits. There's a minute left. He hits a three, and then all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute. Then Jordan Caroline starts punting the basketball from midcourt, and it goes in.
I mean, this is a nothing lead for you. Do you just come with the expectation that Nevada's going to make a late run in a basketball game because of where you were at?
Yes. So Jordan Caroline graduates. That's my rule. 9-0 run for the Wolfpack. They're turning the screws on defense. Fumble at midcourt, out of bounds. Another turnover to Nevada.
Very emotional game for both of these coaches. I mean, they are fired up on the sideline.
Go down low to Caleb Martin. Shot blocked by Brodzianski, recovered by Kenrich Williams and the Horned Frogs. Fisher all the way underneath, and a foul as Miller's shot was blocked.
Great help side defensive rotation over on the spin. The block shot and then out in transition, pushing it. A challenge at the rim. A little contact to the head from behind by Stevens.
J.D. Miller hits the first block for Brodzianski. We've come to expect that.
This has a late night March kind of feel to it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, you know those really late games in the NCAA tournament after you've been watching all day long, I mean, working all day long and checking on scores? Hey, it kind of has that feel to it here.
Just wrapped up regular season for football. Actually wraps up tomorrow officially with Army-Navy. But, I mean, you had those late night starts on the West Coast, Friday night sometimes, and weird things start happening.
I love it. Look, Nevada's manufacturing points right now, getting to the free throw line. TCU hasn't made a field goal in 4 minutes and 2 seconds. And all that's happened during the course of that time is that Nevada is manufacturing opportunities, getting to the free throw line, being the aggressive team. And this is so often the case. You pick up your intensity at the defensive end of the floor, it carries over to the offensive end of the floor. The more aggressive team usually gets the benefit of the better whistle, too.
Caleb Martin, new career high with Nevada. Made that Cody Martin, sorry, he's got 23. Deficit's down to 5. Good lay-in. Alex Robinson. He's in double figures with 10. Three partially blocked there. And the attempt from Caleb Martin and the rebound to TCU. Wolfpack wanted a foul. Now lay in, miss. Drew had the rebound, lost it. And last touch by TCU. Ball came off Hamdi. 72-65. Horned Frogs leading, seeking their first win over a ranked opponent and a 10-0 start to the season. Cody Martin, yes! 25 and 10 for Cody Martin. Corner three from Miller. No, and a rebound for Jordan Caroline. Batted down by as many as 16. They can make it a one-possession game right here. Cody Martin kicks it out. Three ball on the way. No, rebound Caroline. Second effort blocked. Two good looks for Kendall Stevens.
Yeah, I like the fact, though, that Stevens isn't holding back on it. We mentioned 3 games in a row where he had 5 3-pointers made in each one of those contests. Tonight it has not been his night, but he has not stopped shooting.
Cody Martin rises, wanted to draw the contact, and no call comes.
That's because he initiated the contact. You can't, that's not a natural shooting motion.
Robinson with the drive, and he'll get the call, and we'll be at the line to shoot 2. Good comeback run here for Nevada. They've closed the gap from 16 down to 5. 3:48 left to play in LA. TCU has led this one by as many as 16, but Nevada fighting back thanks to Cody Martin.
Cody Martin has done it all tonight for Nevada. He leads the team in points, 25. He leads the team in rebounds. He's got 10. That's a double-double in case you didn't know. And he also leads it in assists with 5. He's done exactly what you would hope that he does. He's a facilitator and play-through guy, but he's been really aggressive getting to the paint. 9 of 12 shooting, 6 of 8 at the free throw line. At
the end of the season, we like to do your tournament resume, sometimes blind resume. We're early. Let's do your NCAA tournament checklist. What does Nevada need to do?
They need to get 25 wins on the season. Very doable. They need to win the Mountain West regular season title. And then if they just get to the conference finals, they'll have absolutely nothing to worry about heading into Selection Sunday. Obviously, they won the tournament finals, and you get the automatic bid.
But you're in.
But Eric Musselman's team, I think, has put themselves in a really good position this year. And in particular, they're in a good position now with 3 minutes and 48 seconds left.
Alex Robinson missed the first free throw for TCU. And more for the junior from Fort Worth. And an 0 for trip.
Remember, it was missed free throws that was hurting Nevada. They were about 50%. They've made 7 out of 7 after starting the game 10 of 19.
Jordan Caroline nearly lost it a couple of times. Finally gets it out of his hands. Down low, Caleb Martin. Shot blocked by Bodzianski.
You just have to realize he's coming over from the help side position. That's where all of his blocks come from.
Bodzianski now 4th in TCU history in career block shots. Just tied Reggie Smith, former NBA player. 10 on the shot clock. Bodzianski up with the right hand, gets it. And another milestone. He's now a 1,000-point scorer.
You're just full of milestones tonight, Sam. Any of the milestones that you're...
That was the 2 he had. Okay. So there you go. 7-point lead for TCU. Caroline all the way to the rim. He is fouled. They're calling it on the floor. So 1-1. Coming up, check that. It'll be 2 at the line. Double bonus for Jordan Caroline.
Let's watch those 1,000th point be scored. Yep, that's a beauty. Play with your back to the basket, get a good base underneath you, and then you just turn over your shoulder, elevate up, and finish.
34th 1,000-point scorer in TCU history. Caroline closing in on a combined 1,000. He started his career at Southern Illinois. Substitution, Bain back in the game, replacing Hamdi. Caroline 14 points, 9 rebounds so far. Give him 15.
The free throw line has been a great place for Nevada in the last 2.5, 3 minutes of this game.
5-point ball game. Full court pressure from the pack. Fisher, drive, foul, and one.
Watch the left arm. You can't really extend out and push out like that, and he did it early. That was the first foul. The second foul was actually on Nevada, and that was a correct call because the second foul was there. But you could have also got him on the first foul if you really wanted to. Jalen Fisher, though, is one of my favorite players that I've ever watched on the AAU circuit. Team Thad, if you want to play for them, you got to play tough, and you got to be physical. And it translates over to the Division I level.
Foul was on Drew. It was his 5th. Tough night for him. Goes scoreless with 3 rebounds. Caroline in traffic, does not get the roll. Offensive board, put back, blocked away by Brodzianski.
Did he pass anybody on that block shot?
Not on that one, no.
Okay, good.
You're safe.
Just wanted to make sure.
2 minutes left here at Staples Center. The lead is 7. Fisher to the corner. 3 ball. Yes, sir. Kenrich Williams filling it up.
That was a huge 3-point shot. Time, possession, open in the corner. Kenrich Williams steps up in a big moment.
Jordan Caroline drives, and he gets the hoop and harm. He'll be at the line with an and one opportunity.
Watch the drive, the pinch in, trying to set up the screen. Well, you set up to try to take the charge. There's no way you're getting out to close out that shot.
Will be his last one for the night. Kenrich Williams just fouled out. 16 points and 11 rebounds, another double-double. Check Alex Robinson back in for him.
Another great performance by Kenrich Williams. And you think about TCU trying to make the tournament, everything that their resume would have to look like. I think 3 top 25 wins. There's going to be plenty of them to have in conference play. This would be one of them, by the way, right now, if they could close this game out. Plus 500 in conference play and avoid the late season swoon that they suffered from last year, where they just did not make shots. They defended, but they could not score. And then they started making shots again after the Big 12 tournament. Knocked off Kansas in the opening round there, and then went to the NIT.
Beat everyone in that. Fisher lob. A little off the mark, but a good save by Quat Noy. Gets it back to Fisher, who is fouled.
And that's the last person you really want to foul and send to the free throw line if you're Nevada. A 2-shot foul. And as you mentioned, a very strong free throw shooter came into this game shooting 86% from the free throw line. Have to have awareness.
He's been hot there too. 7 of 8 in the win over SMU the other day. It's going to be back-to-back really solid wins for a TCU program that, you know, they had just gotten into the top 25. You'd think, you know, if you're undefeated this stage of the season, why wouldn't you be? Well, the quality of competition wasn't really there until this week.
And this week they answered a big call. And now you kind of even know a little bit more about this TCU team than you did obviously before the start of the week, based on just the quality of opponents.
Cody Martin good on the runner. He's got 27. TCU on the run out. Gets a finish for J.D. Miller. 1 minute left. Caroline missing the 3. This is about the time for the New Mexico Magic, right?
All right, I don't think you're going to see the Magic tonight. Really nice win for Jamie Dixon's team. Think about the game started at midnight local time in the Fort Worth, Dallas area. The team played well in the first half, shared the ball, spaced the floor, shot a great percentage. And in the second half, a couple of big 3-pointers by Fisher and then Williams in the corner.
TCU takes the shot clock violation. They'll give up 30 seconds for the 9-point lead and 27 left overall. TCU will be featured once more, actually a few times more, on the ESPN family of networks, beginning with Oklahoma on the 30th on ESPNU. Jordan Caroline with the bucket. Now a 7-point game. Now a turnover. Back to the pack.
I have no idea why you would throw that pass right there when Fisher is right in front of you breaking out. They're going to foul him. He's an 86% free throw shooter. Just let him catch the ball, let him go make some free throws and end the game. Instead, you turn it over. You got to go with a sense of purpose.
Look into the lane, fade away, won't go. Caroline the rebound, and he's fouled on the putback attempt. He'll head to the stripe with 8 seconds left in regulation.
Caroline was literally behind the backboard when he left, and the shot hit the bottom of the backboard. So, I mean, absolutely no reason to foul there whatsoever. There's nothing he could have done in that situation.
Here's what Nevada's got coming up. Mountain West Conference action on the ESPN family. Fresno State, Utah State, Boise State, and boy, when they play UNLV, that's going to be must-see TV in the Mountain West.
Yep. And I think both those games against Boise State as well as San Diego State are going to be great games as well.
Intentional miss. Ball falls to the Wolfpack. 3 from Stevens. Yes. It's a 3-point game. 3.5 seconds left. They will foul Fisher. 2.8 left on the clock.
Well, look, one thing about Nevada was we mentioned in the first half. What did Eric Musselman tell us? What have you learned about your team so far? We're tough. We will compete. It doesn't matter how much time's on the clock. It doesn't matter what the score is. We're just going to play hard. And Stevens, who has not shot the ball well at all today, finally gets his feet set underneath him and knocks one down in a big moment. Not that big, though, because the free throw is by Fisher.
All Big 12 honorable mention a year ago. He's going to seal it here.
Fun game. I mean, both teams over 80 points. I don't know what Fisher was doing there. It's got to hit the rim. I mean, you told him to miss the shot. That's fine, but you got to hit the rim. And Jamie Dixon's 15 feet out on the floor.
Timeout TCU. 84-80. Horned Frogs leading. A teachable moment for Jalen Fisher.
You want to miss the free throw, that's fine, but you've got to at least draw iron. Just can't throw it off the backboard. Take you back and show you the schedule for TCU.
That Oklahoma game, we saw Trae Young earlier tonight, nearly a double-double, 29 points and 9 assists. And then, as you mentioned, you know, it's a team where if they're 500 in the Big 12 and they get some.
Look at the start of that Big 12 schedule.
Yep.
I mean, it's absolutely brutal that you've got Oklahoma with Trae Young. Baylor's a top 25 team. Kansas, I know they took the loss. They're still going to be top 10.
Probably top 5 by then.
Texas with Mo Bamba. They're going to go to the NCAA tournament. And then you got to go back to Oklahoma again. And you look at what the poll looked like at the start of the season. Not much reason, by the way, to believe that anything there will be different come conference play.
A big sign for TCU just to see that poll and see TCU third. I mean, they're so used to being at the back of the pack. Big things coming in Fort Wayne, including a win here tonight. 84-80 your final. They take down a top 25 opponent in Nevada and improve to a perfect 10-0.
Jamie Dixon comes all the way back to California. First time he's ever coached a game in Los Angeles, his hometown. He picks up the victory, and now we'll be picking up tacos at Henry's Tacos in Studio City.
Just 15 miles northwest is alma mater for high school, Notre Dame. Well, our final here, TCU 84, Nevada 80. The 20th ranked Horned Frogs get that top 25 win. For Sean Farnham, I'm Sam Farber saying it's been a pleasure and a privilege talking to you tonight here at Staples Center, the Basketball Hall of Fame Classic. Coming up next on ESPNU, another Basketball Hall of Fame Classic contest, Oklahoma versus number 25 USC. Good night, everybody.